Logan, cut the music. Wow, that was amazing. Are you an expert sound person? You are amazing. Welcome, sixth graders. Do you remember last week when I said they put me on a small stage to like lasso me in? I watched the video on YouTube last week, and this is what I did the whole time. I went to this end, and I went to this end, and Trent said, hey, I kept up with you. But they're trying to keep me in a space, but I'm really active. I'm a very physical, because I teach phy ed and health, so I like to move, but I'll try to do my best, T-Bone. All right, so welcome. Tonight is a very momentous night because it is our last kind of normal night. This sixth grade year has just went whoosh, hasn't it? Are you guys excited to be done with school and move on to the summer and then you're going to be seventh graders? Are you guys ready, or would you like to repeat and do sixth grade all over again? No? Are you sure? All right. So I just want to make a few announcements. Once again, I'll talk about prayer partners again. May 16th, okay? It's May 5th today, so that's 11 days from now. So May 16th is kind of the deadline for you to sign up for prayer partners if you have not done it. Even if you had prayer partners in the past, you still need to like re-sign up again. So that is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. So May 16th, please do that if you have not done it already. If you're still thinking about it, you still have some time. So make sure you sign up for that. So the second announcement is an amazing announcement because I said tonight is the last normal night. It is not the last night of middle school ministries, though. Next Wednesday is our end of the year party bash. So when you come next week, we are going to have so much fun just to celebrate the end of this wonderful year. Woo! Who's excited? You all should be. And if you look around and say, wait, there's people missing, you should be making sure they know that next week we are going to have fun. We're going to have fun as a whole group. We're going to have fun as a whole youth group. And you'll get to spend some time with your small group to make plans like what are we going to do over the summer, make sure you're connecting, all those things. So if you are going to say there's one Wednesday night I don't want to miss, it's next Wednesday night. So make sure you are here if at all possible. Got it? It is the end of the year party. Woo! I'm excited. All right, so we have been playing a lot of games to start our time together, haven't we? No, you don't remember? Last week, I think, what did we play? Trivia? Was it last week we played trivia, Four Corners? Oh, you raising your hand? Oh, you got a question? Do you have a question? Are you just stretching? All right, we are going to play one last game. And we're going to have one last champion in this game. So, this game takes a lot of skill / kind of luck, I guess. How many people know how to play rock, paper, scissors? All right, so you need to be a little bit honest because I don't want people cheating. So what's going to happen is we're going to go rock, paper, scissors, go. Okay, and what you're going to do is have your back turned. So you're going to go rock, paper, scissors, and turn, and you have to have either scissors, a rock, or paper. Now, how many people know paper beats rock? Okay, so if you have paper and the other person has rock, what happens? They win. Okay, scissors beats paper, and rock beats scissors. Now, if you turn and you both have scissors, yes, you're going to quickly redo it. I'm not going to count it off, so you just turn your back quick and go 1, 2, 3, turn, and you keep going until someone wins. Do you understand? Question. It's kind of ultimate, but we're going to play COVID-friendly ultimate rock, paper, scissors because, so if you play ultimate rock, paper, scissors, what happens is if you lose, you become the cheering section for the person that beat you, okay? And then as that person keeps winning, they get a larger and larger and larger cheering section. But what happens is then they just get a mass cheering section where big crowds and everyone's yelling and cheering for them. really not COVID friendly, okay? Because we're all screaming and yelling in like really small huddled groups. So we're not going to play the ultimate rock, paper, scissors. So what we are going to do is just have a big rock, paper, scissors championship, which means is you're going to partner off with someone. I'm going to call off 1, 2, 3, turn. You're going to go. If you win, you stay standing. If you lose, you sit down. Now, you can still pick someone to cheer for, but you're just going to be sitting in your seat, okay? Then, winners will stay standing. They'll find another person to pair up with, and we'll go to the next round. We'll keep on going down and down and down and down until we only have how many people left? 2. Actually, we'll get down to 4, and we'll bring all 4 of them up on stage. Okay? Any questions? Like I said, if you turn and tie, quickly turn around and do it on your own. Okay? But otherwise, I will be calling off each round. So even when you find your next partner, don't start until I call the next round. Does that make sense? Okay, so leaders, you can participate to make sure that we have even numbers. So I want everyone to make sure they have a partner. So first round, choose your partner. I'll give you 10 seconds. Go and stand back to back. Stand back to back. Okay, here we go. Everyone stand and stand back to back. Does everyone have a partner? If you don't have a partner, all right. Does everyone have a partner? All right, here we go. I'm going to go 3, 2, 1, go. When I say go, you're going to turn and you are going to flash either rock, paper, or scissors. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, remember, rock beats scissors, scissors beats paper, paper beats rock. If you won, stay standing. If you lost, sit down. If you are standing, find someone else that is standing. If you are standing, find another person that is standing. Right here. All right, does everyone have a new partner? All right, here we go. Round number 2. 3, 2, 1, go. All right, if you are standing, find a new partner. If you are standing, we have someone back here that needs a partner. We have an odd person, so guess what? You get a free pass to the next round. All right, here we go. Stand back to back. 3, 2, 1, turn, go. All right. You come up on stage. You 2 come up on stage. Who won? All right, come up on stage. We're to our final 4. Come right up here. You can sit 2 on this side, 2 on this side. You don't have to come up on stage. Stand on the side. All right, here we go. We have the boys' side, and we have the girls' side. All right, here we go. Are you guys strategizing? All right, here we go. Are you ready? Are you guys ready? 3, 2, 1, go! All right, that is rock beats scissors. Oh, okay, we have a finals. We have leaders versus students. All right, leaders cheer for the leaders. Woo! Students cheer for the students. Woo! That was not very good, students. You need to cheer louder. Oh, y'all, maybe your students are cheering for you. That's true. It's a little mixed bag. All right, it's for the championship. Here we go. Are you ready? What's your name, by the way? Adam? Good luck, Adam. But she really wants to beat you, though. All right. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. We have a winner. The leaders have won. Woo! The 2021 Rock, Paper, Scissors champion, Sonia. Her group is now going to buy her anything she wants from the junkyard, right? No? All right. I'm just kidding. You don't have to do that. All right. Last week, let's see. I got to make sure I got the right notes. Last week we continued our series called Upside Down. Okay? Last week we talked about something that was very, very, very difficult to do, and that's loving our enemies. And we talked about how enemies doesn't have to be someone that is way off in the distance. It doesn't have to be someone that maybe we don't know about. It can be. You can pray for someone that you maybe don't know. But it's more about maybe somebody that's close to you. It could even be a brother or sister. It could be a parent. It could be your best friend at some times. But I challenged you last week to spend maybe once a day or a couple times over the next week, from last Wednesday to this Wednesday, anytime that person that you're really struggling with, I challenged you to, instead of having those thoughts of, oh, that person really gets on my nerves, but instead just pray for that person. Because Jesus challenges us to pray and pray and pray and pray when those times when our enemies or the people that really irritate us or the people that really get on our nerves or the people sometimes that are maybe spreading rumors about us, he tells us to pray for them and pray for our own hearts of how we respond. So I hope that you are able to start to get into that habit of changing the way our hearts act towards the people that in our lives we really struggle with. Because that's what upside down living is, and that's what Jesus' example is to us. Gentleman in the back, can you put the phone away? You can play video games when you're at home. Thanks. All right, thanks. All right, then 2 weeks ago, we talked about our friends and how we serve our friends and how the world talks about a me first type of friendship and how we got to make sure our needs are met first, but how Jesus talked about how we need to serve others first and serve our friends first. And sometimes that means putting our needs behind us and meeting our friends' needs first. And how that it can be difficult sometimes. And showing up for our friends and being there for them when they really need us. And sometimes that means putting our lives on hold to be there for our friends. And finding friends that will do the same for us when we need them. So having those quality friendships that you are going to be there for them and they'll be there for us. Okay? Upside down living. Because Jesus showed that example to his closest friends with his disciples. Okay? This week, we're really going to talk about something that's difficult. And it really challenges us against the norm, what is going on in our world today. Whether it's you personally or whether what you see in society today. And that's choosing to do what is right or being courageous over what's comfortable. Because there's things in our lives and choices we make daily that we say, yeah, I know that's the right thing to do, but that makes me feel uncomfortable. That makes me scared to do the right thing because I don't see other people doing that. Because if I do this, because more people are doing it this way, I may not stand out, and that's going to make me comfortable. So choosing courage to do what God or Jesus calls us to do, instead of doing what the world wants us to do and being comfortable. So, that's what we're going to do today. So, Logan, roll the video.
Think back with me just for a moment. When was the last time you were really uncomfortable? Now for me, without question, the most uncomfortable I've ever been was when I went deep sea fishing off the coast of Florida. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever been seasick or motion sick or car sick, but up to that point in my life, I had never experienced any kind of motion sickness. But after about 30 minutes on the boat, something was definitely not right. I spent the next 6 hours in the fetal position, praying to God that He would save my life because I was pretty sure I was going to die. I would not wish that kind of sickness or uncomfortableness on my worst enemy. And now maybe you haven't experienced that exact scenario, but I know you know what it's like to feel uncomfortable.
We've all felt physically uncomfortable before, right? Maybe it was that time that you found the perfect hiding spot for hide and seek until you squeezed yourself in there and all of your arms and legs fell asleep and it took your friends an hour to find you. Or maybe it was the time that you rode a packed bus on a 90-degree day and the air conditioner was broken. Speaking of broken, has anyone here ever broken a bone? Wow, talk about being uncomfortable. Physical pain is never fun.
But what about feeling emotionally uncomfortable? I'm guessing we all know what that's like, right? Maybe for you, feeling uncomfortable makes you think about that time you realized in the middle of the school day that your shirt had been inside out all morning. Been there, so embarrassing. Or maybe you're picturing your first day at a new school or on a new team when you didn't really know anybody. Or maybe you're thinking about that time all your friends hung out without you and you saw it on Instagram later. No matter what scenario you're picturing, trust me, we all know what it's like to feel emotionally uncomfortable, and we all hate it.
No matter the situation, we don't like to be uncomfortable, whether physically or emotionally. We like comfort. We like easy. We like to be happy. We like feeling not too hot and not too cold, but just right. You might call that perfect range your comfort zone. And we all have a comfort zone. And we all like to stay inside of it because, well, it's pretty comfy in there. There's nothing wrong with that. At least not usually.
But in this series, we've been talking about how Jesus always seems to push us to do things that seem, well, a little backwards, maybe even upside down. From the way we treat our friends to the way we treat our enemies, Jesus' approach always seems to be upside down from the usual response. So today we're going to keep that conversation going by talking about another topic that Jesus approaches in a pretty upside down kind of way: our comfort.
We've talked already about several ways that you and I have felt a little uncomfortable. Most of them were kind of silly and not really a big deal. But for the next few minutes, I want us to think about the fact that there are people right now who are living with some very real and very serious discomfort.
All over the world, and even right here in our own community, there are people, real people, just like you and me, who are in need. There are people who go to bed hungry, and there are people whose families won't have enough money to make ends meet this month. There are kids who need mentors and tutors because they don't have any other adults in their lives who care for them and are wanting to help them succeed. And there are people who don't have access to clean water. They can't take a drink or a shower or brush their teeth without wondering if the water they're using is going to make them sick. There are people in need all around us, and that should matter to us.
Maybe you can identify with some of those examples, or maybe you can't, but you hurt for those people and think you'd like to help. Or maybe you hear those examples and you don't feel much of anything. No matter what your situation is, think about this. So often, when we learn about someone in need, we don't do anything to help. Why?
Well, there are probably a lot of reasons, but I think there's one big reason. Because helping people will always require us to be a little uncomfortable. Maybe we want to help people, but at the same time, we don't want to be uncomfortable. So when our desire to help conflicts with our desire to be comfortable, comfort usually wins.
But is there a way, when our desire to help and our desire to be comfortable collide, to let our desire to help actually win? Well, if anyone can help us answer that question, I think it's Jesus. If you look at Jesus' teaching, it'll be pretty easy to see that Jesus tells us over and over and shows us again and again to care for and love people in need. Listen to what he says here to his disciples. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go to visit you? The king will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.
Wow. Caring for someone in need, Jesus said, is so important that when you do it, it's like you're doing it for God himself. That's how much it matters to him. Caring for those in need is on the top of his priority list. And you know what I love about what Jesus did here? He celebrated very simple acts of service. He talked about spending time with those who were lonely and giving food and water and clothes to those in need. Maybe these seem like small things, but if you needed food or water or clothes or a friend, Think about how much they would matter to you. They're simple, but they're so important. And they're the very things Jesus noticed.
So sure, when you go out of your way to care for someone in need, it might make you uncomfortable. But isn't it worth being uncomfortable if it connects your heart to the very heart of God? If it makes you more like Jesus? If it gives you an opportunity to change someone's life for the better? Isn't being uncomfortable worth it if you're doing something that matters?
Think of it this way. If we want to overcome our addiction to being comfortable, it simply takes courage. Going out of your way for others may not be what's easy or comfortable, but according to Jesus, it's one of the most important things you can do. It's a little upside down from what most of the world is doing, but as you probably know by now, that's usually how Jesus did things. He thought and lived and loved in a pretty upside down kind of way, and he invites us to do the same. And when you live upside down, you are choosing courage over comfort.
So how do we do this? How do we become more courageous? Well, I think courage is a muscle we need to exercise. Exercising your courage muscle is like exercising any other muscle. First, you have to decide to do it. Choose to become the kind of person who loves others, even when it's uncomfortable.
Second, you have to commit to it. Decide maybe once a week or once a day that you'll be courageous and do something for someone in need. Keep your eyes open for people who need a hand or a friend or a little encouragement. It doesn't have to be something big. It can be a small, kind act to provide comfort for someone else. You can't flex your courage muscle if you never put yourself in a position to see a need.
And third, get your friends involved. Everything, including caring for others, is more fun with friends. Plus, they can help encourage you when you're feeling not so courageous. Sure, sometimes your attempts to reach out to someone else can make you feel awkward. That's okay. It's gonna take some courage. But here's what I know to be true. When you choose to live a life a little upside down by choosing courage over comfort, it will change things. It will change you and your heart. And you will come alive in new ways and see God do some pretty amazing things. And it will change the world too. I mean, imagine what the world would be like if we all chose to put our courage over comfort and to care for each other's needs.
So go, do something. Don't let your desire for comfort keep you from doing big things for others. Be courageous and take the risk. Take your cue from Jesus. Choose courage over comfort and decide to live your life a little bit more upside down.
All right. So, over your life through, I don't know, maybe kindergarten through 5th grade, you've been challenged. Maybe from your parents, maybe through church, Sunday school, Awana, to serve others, to help the poor, to serve the needy, and things like that. Now you're in middle school, okay? And that's kind of what this lesson is. Take another step of courage to notice people around you that are in need, and to take a step of courage to go into a little bit of discomfort for those in need. But sometimes we get a little bit lost in that. Sometimes we think of like, well, that's a big picture thing. I need to go on a missions trip. Or I need to, serve at church and things like that. And sometimes we forget about what's just even around us. Whether we're at school, or whether we're hanging out with our friends, or whether we're just alone, and even on social media, or texting with our friends, or with our siblings. And sometimes we forget that Jesus asks us to love others at all times. And sometimes we forget that we think of the big picture of kind of what they talked about in the video of helping those in extreme need. That we forget to look around us of helping others that are in need, that are right around us in our community. And both of those are just really important. There are times that, yes, we need to reach out and help stock a food shelf. There are times that we need to go out and, work and help out and maybe do some yard work for some people that aren't able to do it. And as you get older, you may go on some more missions trips and things like that are big picture things. But there are also other times where you need to push yourself into an uncomfortable space to do what is right, which takes courage. And we'll talk about some of those examples. There are some times in your life where doing the right thing is difficult. I remember he talked about the beginning of the story about the time where he felt most uncomfortable in his life. Well, one of the most uncomfortable times in my life was when I was growing up. I went to a really, 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 really tiny free church. I grew up in a town called Kirkhoven, which is about 100 miles west of here. And we actually what was called Bible instruction class when we were in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And when we graduated from that, we had to write a short paper, and then we had to read this paper in front of the whole church. Okay, so imagine getting up in front of the whole church it was called Bible instruction graduation, and then I had to read this paper in front of the whole entire church. Now, what made mine most nervous is that I decided the topic of parents. So I'd written my paper about parenting as an 8th grader. What did I know about parenting as an 8th grader? So I wrote about what it means to honor my parents, and I took that commandment, honor your father and mother, and that's what I wrote about as far as what biblical parenting was, and as a child, what it meant to honor your parents. And so I got up in front of the church. That was one of the most awkward and uncomfortable moments in my life. It's the first time I'd ever stood in front of a crowd like this, like I'm doing right now, and gave a lesson/speech in front of people as a 13 or 14-year-old. Okay? I was uncomfortable. My parents had not read it. Nobody else, I think the instructor of the class had previewed all of them. But I read this paper, and I was my armpits are probably all sweaty, and my forehead was probably sweaty because I was nervous. That was uncomfortable. Okay? But it was something that, in the long run, allowed me to do what I'm doing now. I'm a teacher, so I stand in front of groups all the time and talk, and it's very easy for me. So that was like a stepping stone. It was like the first step for me to be able to feel very comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. Because now, for me, people tell me all the time, how do you step in front? How do you have the courage to step in front of people to either in a class setting, in a large group setting, because I also do a lot of talks to a lot of adults at times, and I talk to middle schoolers all the time. And you talk about courage over comfort. Many, many, many people would be standing here in front of this small group of people and it would be shaking like this. Because it's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. And it would take a lot of courage. But for me, I find it I shouldn't say easy, but I enjoy this now because I have busted through with a lot of courage and made a very uncomfortable situation and something that God has led me and given me the gifts to do this. But it started in a very, very uncomfortable way and has now led me to be able to serve others that way. So you don't know the opportunities that God can give you when you just take a step of courage in an uncomfortable situation. Because sometimes we choose to take the easy path. I could have very much so. And I've seen so many students, so many adults have amazing opportunities that are right in front of them. And they just say, no, I can't do it. Even though it's the right thing to do, it's an amazing opportunity, whether it's leading kids or going on a missions trip or just doing something very basic or simple, that they can't overcome a fear of discomfort and have the courage just to step up and say, I can do this. And who knows what that opportunity may have led to. So my encouragement to you as 6th graders is don't let discomfort overtake your courage to what God calls you to do. when you know that God is pulling on your heart and mind to say, yes, I need to stand up for what's going on at my school with maybe a group of friends. If you know that things are going on in a friend group and they are saying some things behind people's backs or on social media or something, and you know you should stand up and say, you know what? This is not right. Have the courage to say that. Even though it might make you feel uncomfortable. Because that's what God calls us to do. Or let's say that you want to try out for a basketball team and you don't know if you're good enough. Have the courage to say to yourself, it doesn't matter because I am going to do the best I can. Even though it's uncomfortable. Because you never know. There's been so many times where people just don't have the courage to try something. And it can be a musical instrument or something like that that can lead to great things in your life. Okay, those are just little tiny things in a student's life that are uncomfortable things to them that can lead to great opportunities to build wonderful friendships or to build connections with people that can lead to great things. Okay, those are tiny things. But let's read in Matthew 25, verses 31 to 46. So if you have your Bible, we're going to read in Matthew 25, 31 to 46. And Jesus is telling about what it means, the difference between serving and not serving. He says in verse 31, when the Son of Man comes in his glory and all the angels with him, he will sit on his glorious throne. All the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, so these are the sheep, come, you who are blessed by my Father. Take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer him, Lord, when did I see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you as a stranger and invite you in, or need clothing and clothe you? When did we see you sick or in prison and go visit you? And the king replied, truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. So what he's saying is this. Jesus is saying this. What you do to serve others and love others in your lifetime is the same as how he sees as you treating him, our King, Jesus. So what he's saying is, when he is talking to his sheep on his right, and he's saying, you clothed me, you fed me, you helped me when I was sick. When you're doing that to the people you have in your lives, and you're able to have a heart of compassion and service, and you're able to have courage to do that, it's like you are helping and loving Jesus himself. Because he loves everyone. But then he says this, then he will say to those of us on his left, which he separated them and calls them goats, depart from me, you who are cursed, for eternal fire prepare for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me. And then these people answered, Lord, when do we see you hungry and thirsty, or a stranger, or needing clothes, or sick, or in prison, and did not help you? We didn't. I never saw you, and I would have helped you if I would have seen you. And he replied, truly I tell you, whatever you did for the least of these, you did not do for me. Or whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do for me. And they will go away for eternal punishment, but the righteous to live eternal life. So he's basically saying the same thing. You passed by all these people that needed help. You looked at them and ignored them. Or you looked at them and laughed at them, or mocked them and judged them. And every time you did that, that was like doing the same thing to Jesus. So that is the example he's giving you, all of us, you, me, all of us, saying, don't ignore the people that need us. Your friends, your family, anybody that needs us, reach out in love. And right now, our world is hurting. It is hurting bad. And too many times we make the decision of, that's their problem. I'm doing just fine. We are in what they said in the video, our comfort zone. And we say, I don't need to help because I'm doing just fine. And that's exactly what Jesus is saying is, no, you're not. Because if you have the ability to say, I can help, I love you, Jesus loves you, I care for you, you need to do that. Even if it's uncomfortable. Even if it puts you in a space where you're a little bit in discomfort, you need to love others. So, do you want to be a sheep who follows Jesus and lives by his example? Or do you want to be a goat who's independent, stubborn, and says, nope, I'm going to do it my way? Now, the difference is also, a lot of people say that a lot of Christians, all they are is sheep. And they just follow like this and don't have a mind for their own. That's not what Jesus is saying. He's saying that we are following his will and following his guidance, and we are making courageous decisions to live upside down and do what is right by loving others. He wants us to follow him. He wants us to have courage over discomfort, and he wants us to do this naturally by just having a heart of compassion. So just think, who are the people around you that are in need? Your friends, your enemies, your family members, and in the bigger picture too as you get older. So choosing to live upside down takes courage and will make you live in discomfort, but it's going to grow you stronger and stronger each day. All right, let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, I just thank you for this example that you've given us this last 3 weeks. It's hard to live an upside down life. But just help us just dig into your word on a daily basis and to pray and to soften our hearts. Just to help us see that we need to just live a life of compassion and love and caring. And sometimes that's hard to do. But if we just go to you when we're struggling and just give our lives and say, just use me, Lord, in any way you can, that we can do it. Just give us the courage, even when we are in an area that we just doesn't feel comfortable, that's okay. That just means that we are living a life that's following you, Lord. Just thank you for everything you've done for our lives, and I just thank you for this group of 6th graders as they move on over the next few months to 7th grade, and I just thank you for everything that our small group leaders have done this year for them. I just praise you for everything you've done for their lives. In your name we pray, amen. All right, girls, you can head on to your small group room. Gentlemen, let's all have all your gentlemen stay here and move up to the front, please. Oh.